I think there's something uniquely terrifying about elevators. You're stuck in a big box suspended by cables, sometimes with complete strangers, hoping that you get to where you want to go without any issues. I especially get nervous whenever I step foot into one. Getting stuck in an elevator has been like a semi-irrational fear of mine for a long time. So when I decided to play Elevator Hitch for the first time last month, it really freaked me out, but in the best way possible. For those who don't know, Elevator Hitch is a 70s themed virtual escape room horror type game with visual novel and point and click elements. The protagonist you play as is trying to get to his job interview on the top floor of a building when he's stuck in an elevator with one of the office workers. You can go to different floors, but they're strange, surreal, and deadly if you're not careful. If this sounds at all interesting to you, and you have some sort of PC or laptop access, I'd highly recommend you playing it before watching the rest of this video. It's free on itch.io, and you'd be supporting the same indie game studio that made Dead Plate and Married in Red, which are some of their more popular titles. I'll leave a link to the game at the top of the description in case you're interested. Alright, I'm assuming everyone else here has either played the game or is fine with spoilers, so let's continue. Originally, this video is going to be about all of the weird and wonderful endings and floors Elevator Hitch had to offer, but I quickly realized that video would be absurdly long and 2 steps removed from making a full game dissection, which I just know I wouldn't enjoy making. I far prefer to make videos over specific parts of video games rather than something more broad like that. So I decided to pick just one floor to talk about, at least for now. So without further ado, the most underrated floor and my personal favorite, Floor 6. The obvious place to start would likely be what's shown on screen, but I want to go over the music first, actually. I've done 2 videos so far over the fascinating nightmare that is Deltarune's soundtrack, so I at least like to think that I somewhat know what I'm doing in terms of musical analysis. Throughout Elevator Hitch's soundtrack, there's a very prominent leitmotif, which sounds like this. You can actually find this leitmotif in all but 3 of the songs on the soundtrack, which are For the Butchery, The Roof, and of course the Fake Office. If you've listened to the soundtrack as many times as I have, you might be yelling at your screen, "Hey weird cat, what about the radiation track?" And to that, listen to this clip of it at 1.75 times speed. I could probably yap all day about how cool the Elevator Hitch soundtrack is and how Belle Callinger, sorry if I pronounced that wrong by the way, absolutely knocked it out of the park. But I need to at least somewhat stay in the ballpark of what this video topic is about. So, what's up with Floor 6 not having the main leitmotif? Well, my hunch is that it's because this is the closest we'll get to seeing how the company's building normally looks like. In the actual game, you'll hear the sounds of phones ringing on and off in the background, giving the illusion that this office is normal, and that there are other people working just beyond our view. Without the main theme of the game haunting you while you're looking around, it gives you this sort of illusion of normal when you first arrive, which starts to unravel the further you investigate it. Speaking of which, let's do just that. One of the first hints that this is a pretty abnormal cubicle actually comes from seeing all the other cubicles, interestingly enough. Clicking around lets you find out that they all are in fact identical. I think this is a sort of physical representation of the loss of individuality that goes on in this company. You can hear phones ringing like there's people here, but you don't see any because they don't really matter. Anyone here just blends into the sea of people until it's like they're not even there at all. A dark glimpse into a bleak future for sure. Let's look closer at the actual cubicles themselves though. Maybe that'll be less depressing. Like Floor 2, there's another chair here stuck to the floor, but at least this one seems more inviting than the other one a few floors down. Upon inspecting the computer sitting atop the desk, the game reveals to us that it's just a cardboard cutout for some reason. Alright then. With the floors of the elevator seeming very strangely linked to our lovely protagonist, I mean, just look at floor 4. I'm led to believe that the ashtray shown on the desk might hint at a possible history of smoking for him. With a job like this, I can see why he might want to take up smoking again sometime in the future. In the drawers of the desk, there's a handy-dandy job application questionnaire. The questions on there seem absurd for a job application, but I think they're supposed to be. It's incredibly easy to fill this thing out wrong the first time, which I think demonstrates an underlying theme in Elevator Hitch, the protagonist's fear of rejection. I mean, the word rejected appears in big letters on the paper when you fill it out wrong for the first time, with the main character being torn in half shortly after. The elevator is pretty clearly linked to the protagonist in some ways, since, the floor 4 is literally his childhood bedroom. So I think this paper is an abstract way of showing how he's scared of doing something as simple as filling out a job application incorrectly due to the fear that he won't be accepted. After all, he needs this job, and it seems like he'd do most anything to get it. The last thing worth mentioning is, why are the cubicles decorated for a party? To put it simply, I think floor 6 is a sort of metaphor for what the protagonist's life is going to look like once he starts this new job. The protagonist of Elevator Hitch doesn't even get a real name, and neither does his co-worker, besides from a few joke ones. Despite the story revolving around them, the company doesn't really see them as individuals, just working bodies. The connection that they shared going through this journey together is one that's actively discouraged by the company, with the interviewer on floor 9 even calling the relationship a distraction. At this company, the protagonist is doomed to a life of monotonous office work in a small cubicle. The cubicles are decorated for a party because this is likely where all of the protagonist is going to spend his birthdays for the foreseeable future. The piece of birthday cake with a single candle illuminates the cubicle when you receive it for the first time. It changes the light of the space from a cold bluish purple to a warm, more salmon-y pink color. But there's no real comfort in this warmth. Almost as if saying, you're another year older, but here you are. Stuck in a soulless job where you're discouraged from talking to your only friend. Or maybe if you're unlucky enough, it shows that another year has passed, and you're still in the same place. At the same desk, in the same chair, taking the same phone calls. The insanity from when you applied for the job may be over, but the monotony has made a home in the space it left behind. The only wishes you're able to make are on the flame from your cigarette lighter after picking up smoking again, and the lone candle on your birthday cake. So make a wish. Maybe it'll come true next year. Thank you so much for watching. I am beyond floored at the reception my last video got, and as of right now, it's the most viewed video on my channel with like 21,000 views. Holy damn, thank you so much. As happy as I am about the excess of my Omori and Deltarune videos, I don't only want to talk about those two games forever. I've seen some other YouTubers who only talked about the same few things and got pigeonholed pretty early on, so I'm trying to avoid that if possible. Plus, I've been dying to talk about this game since I played it last month. Studio Investigrave's games are so underrated, and I really haven't seen anyone else doing any other video essays over them, so make the videos you want to see in the world and all that. If you guys really liked this video, then I might make some more over different floors in the future. Who knows? And as always, please leave your thoughts, theories, video suggestions, or anything else in the comments below. I always love hearing what everyone has to say. I'm also over 680 subscribers now, which absolutely blows my mind. Seriously, I know I'm kind of a broken record, but I cannot thank everyone enough for this. If you like this video and you want to see other stuff like it in the future, maybe consider liking this video and subscribing. Also, big, small update, somewhere in between there, I have decided to start a Patreon. There's just one tier for $5, but there's some pretty swanky rewards like seeing my videos a week earlier and downloads to my thumbnails and video backgrounds since I actually draw all of them myself. So if you want to support me a little bit extra and get some cool stuff out of it, then I definitely recommend it. I'm going to be doing that going forward, so next month's video, you'll be able to see it a week earlier if you pledge to the Patreon. So, alrighty, I'll see you sometime in the future. Bye!